Warning, our next story shows confronting video of a child suffering withdrawals from a commonly used eczema medication. His mother took the video as a visual diary for doctors. It follows the story we brought you on Grace Beebe, an eczema sufferer who's heading to Bangkok to get treatment for topical steroid withdrawal, or TSW. We had overwhelming feedback on that story from other parents who had similar eczema stories with their children, including Leah Bray, whose son has suffered horrendously from TSW. National correspondent Amanda Gillies reports.
It's a confronting and heartbreaking insight into what was the daily life of Luke Sinclair. Itchy, irritable and covered in inflamed eczema, tossing and turning in his sleep, soft gloves taped to his wrist to stop him from scratching himself. This is what topical steroid withdrawal looks like.
He just went nuts because he was clearly in such an incredible amount of pain, and he was so young, he just lost it.
This is Luke today, smiling, sporting, running free and eczema-free. And it's all thanks to an eczema specialist in New York.
It was like our lives were handed back to us on a silver platter just in weeks.
Luke Sinclair developed eczema at 15 months old. Back then, a doctor prescribed hydrocortisone cream. It didn't work.
We began sleeping with him to hold down his arms to keep him from scratching too much.
The eczema spread and doctors would prescribe stronger creams to apply more frequently. Restrictive diets were tried and homeopaths engaged, but to no avail.
When he was 3, he told a man, unprompted, he said, "You have nice skin. I have bad skin. I hate my skin." And he was only 3 years old.
On doctors' orders, they kept applying the steroid cream day and night, hoping it would eventually help.
Since we didn't know there was a danger of overuse, we used freely.
But the rash never cleared. A paediatrician then prescribed another cream to apply for 5 weeks. By then, Luke's parents had read about topical steroid withdrawal and, concerned, they asked about it.
She said it was absolutely no concern, not to worry about it, and please use the creams as we were instructed. So we did.
But at the end of the 5 weeks, a new paediatric dermatologist dropped a bombshell.
She told us that daily use of steroids was unsafe.
So they cut back, but Luke suffered terribly from steroid withdrawal. He was in agony and admitted to hospital where he was heavily medicated.
It was so far beyond any level of pain and itch. It's just completely indescribable. And he looked like he had third-degree burns.
They were told to apply more topical steroids and prescribed a low-dose medication given to cancer patients. They fought it but felt alone and ignored. Mentally, the toll was devastating. Leah had to leave her job to look after Luke full-time, and Luke was enrolled in therapy.
I remember the psychologist saying, "He's too sick for trauma therapy. He's too traumatized for trauma therapy."
By now, they were terrified they would lose their boy and withdrew him from care. But then a friend told them about an eczema specialist in New York, Professor Shimin Lee, a doctor who offers both Western and Chinese medicine. She agreed to take on Luke and prescribed her own medicine, creams and procedures. It was intense, but worked almost instantly.
Here we are nearly a year later, no creams, no baths, no pills, no nothing. And he doesn't have a blemish on his entire body, only freckles.
The treatment wasn't cheap, costing thousands of dollars, but Luke's family did eventually secure health funding. But the family are really worried about the treatment they received in New Zealand, and they've now laid a complaint with the Health and Disability Commissioner. They want safer prescribing guidelines for topical steroid use.
I'm sorry they've had that experience, and I think it is unusual.
Dr. Louise Riker is a top specialist dermatologist. She knows her eczema.
Eczema can affect up to a third of the population at some stage in New Zealand, and the best treatment to reduce inflamed skin eczema is with topical steroids.
She says when the cream doesn't work, it can often indicate an underlying infection or allergy.
It's like having your foot trapped on the accelerator and yet trying to use the brake to stop your car. Steroids alone will not clear up eczema that is still being fuelled by an allergen.
Patch testing is crucial, but this isn't readily available. Dr. Riker says more funding and more specialists are needed. As for Luke Sinclair, he's now a happy sports-mad wee boy. Leah has her son back, and she hopes to inspire other affected parents that there is help out there for topical steroid withdrawal. Unfortunately, it's often overseas. Amanda Gillies, News Hub.